he's gone through the mud of that optimization work. And now it seems like he's trying to find the ever so difficult balance that we're all looking for. But I think that coming back to just where we are and where I am of like, what if I didn't have a cherished outcome? What if I just did what felt right? And there's a lot of yoga philosophy within that of following your dharma and what feels right and trusting your gut, and that's for sure important. But it's also it allows you, or at least it allows myself to not have a sense of disappointment by putting expectations on others. And I think that is a really important piece to this way of approach, to this way of operating within others, because it leads into boundaries, which Elizabeth talks about a lot in this episode. But it also just allows for like a sense of calm and a sense of appreciation and gratitude for what you do get. So when you come into a relationship, whether it's a new friendship or a new romantic partnership, it creates a sense of lightness where you have this almost burden that's taken off, because there are all relationships where it does feel, or it can start to feel one-sided, because you give, and you never get anything in return. And that ultimately could brew resentment, because it's like, I'm giving so much energy, I'm giving so much time, I'm giving so much effort into a friendship or into a relationship. And if it's not reciprocated, then you start to blame yourself, and you start to ask why, and then you can even press harder and do more and say, hey, why won't this person you know give what I want? Why can't they read my mind? And that's because it's as ridiculous as it sounds. Nobody can read anybody's mind. So obviously communication is important in that, and being able to lay out your thoughts and lay out your ideas. But also, some of those expectations that you may have might just not be fair. And if they're not fair, from zooming out from like a 10,000 foot lens, then it it allows for a sobering moment to remove that cherished outcome, and to come to new relationships, or even refresh that particular relationship without a cherished outcome, and just to have fun. And then once you take that weight off, then it allows the other things to really unravel, I would believe, because maybe you're like, oh, I don't need this anymore, or it's not working, or I don't have to put myself out there, or strain myself in order to do it. And that allows you to take responsibility. It allows you to use the foundational agreement of this poem, of where you'll be respectful, you'll be generous, but you don't have to be overextended, and you don't need a cherished outcome. And that's just such an important way to get into the idea of relationships, and the idea of how people will navigate through this world, because we are, in a sense, at least someone like myself, striving for approval, right? It's the people pleaser in many of us that wants to be successful, wants to be liked, wants to be appreciated, and all of these really foundational aspects of a relationship that feel good, because you feel like you're doing something right. But is that actually true, especially when you start to talk about boundaries, and especially when you start to talk about your relationship with yourself? So